Dial Models Workshop.
Hi, it's Yeji.
And Clint.
Hey, it's Larry. You are entering Models Workshop After Hours, a modeling podcast where we talk about miniatures, model painting, and we cuss a lot. If you can be offended, we're probably going to offend you. Then you're going to laugh, and you're going to feel bad. And then we'll offend you again, and then you'll laugh again. You see the pattern. So kick out, sit back, grab your brush, grab your paints, and get ready to have some fun.
Hello, model workers, and welcome to the second Models Workshop After Hours UK edition. This episode of Models Workshop After Hours is sponsored by Audible.com. Grab your 2 free books by visiting www.bit.ly/After Hours Audible and get your 2 books for life. So I'm Peter, and tonight I'm joined by Chloe and nobody else. Hi, Chloe.
Hello.
Ian is he's decided to go to work instead of recording a podcast. Simon is hiding. Larry was going to join us, but then he decided to break his leg. And we've got a new guy, Dave. And he was going to make his debut tonight as well, except that he's at Warhammer World, or Warhammer Fest, I should say, and he's completely off his face, having been awarded a community award for being a Warhammer hero. So hopefully we'll talk to him soon. So what have you been up to since we last spoke?
I've been painting a lot of tabletop miniatures, actually. So, yeah, I finished those Poxwalkers that I'd started last time. So they're all squared away. And I thought, seeing as all these wonderful models are getting put on for the Golden Demon Awards, I would do a display model. Because I haven't done one to that quality and with that much patience for a while, so... I currently have in front of me the 40 Years of White Dwarf model, which I'm going to do in my own chapter colours, and Night Model's Iron Man bust.
Ah.
So see how they
cool.
go. Yeah, so a little bit more display stuff in the background.
Fantastic. So you've completely finished your Dark Vengeance. No, not Dark Vengeance. What is it? Dark Imperium. No. I have no idea the names of these sets.
No, that's the right name. I've just not finished it. We've done all the Poxwalkers, all the Death Guard actually.
Okay.
We haven't bought a tank, so we need to get that squared. But as far as the Space Marines are concerned, they're stuck together with blue tack, so I can play with them. But apart from being undercoated, there's nothing else.
Oh, that's fine. That's almost tournament ready.
Yeah, and 2 more colours and I'll be squared away.
But you've finished all the Death Guard and Poxwalkers, so you've got one half of the box done.
Yeah, so I've not done any of my models, essentially, but it's cool.
Well,
but I'll get around to them. I just wanted to do something different from tabletop for once, so it'd be nice to spend a bit more time on something.
Yeah, I've
practice techniques.
I've been practicing my techniques this week, getting these commission pieces done. I've been painting a lot of green. I've been painting so much green.
Are you sick of green yet?
Do you know what? Actually, I thought I would be, but I'm not. I'm actually quite enjoying wet blending yellows into greens and making them just jump off the model.
Until your ink goes everywhere and makes a mess.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of this this ink that I got 20 years ago. Because
they don't make it.
They really don't. Although actually they do, because it's just the Coat d'Arms. So I just have to go and get a Coat d'Arms ink, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh, that'll be alright then. Safe.
But yeah, I've been doing sort of gym style things, but without oil. Just acrylic wet blending, just making this whole model wet and filled with paint and just mixing on the model.
Sounds dirty.
Filthy, yeah. And it's actually I'm quite happy with it.
It's all good to experiment with.
Absolutely. We're still talking about painting, right?
Innuendo bingo tonight, guys. I don't know. It depends if Drunk Dave comes on later or Larry. So.
It'd be great if they popped in. One's off his face on morphine and the other one is off his face on wine.
Yeah, we tried to get them in, listeners, for pure entertainment value, but it didn't work, so sorry.
Another time, I think we'll have to get them We'll have to do a drunk painting podcast.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
I think when we all meet up, in that fateful, future day, I think we should get somebody completely stoned on legal medication, obviously legal medication, and somebody else completely drunk, and somebody just really, really tired.
If we can like take some recording material to Warhammer World, we could just get drunk in the Bugman's bar and record there, and that'd be hilarious.
That'd be great. Although we probably would be competing with Warhammer's new podcast.
More competition, better.
Well, absolutely.
We get them really drunk, and then everyone can just join in. It'll be fun.
Because that's one of today's big announcements from day one of Warhammer Fest. Was
there's many.
It's a long list, isn't it? I mean, I thought the stuff they announced at Adepticon was quite fancy, but what they've shown today is just crazy. A new webcomic, the first ever official Warhammer podcast. What are they calling it? Stormcast?
Yeah, Stormcast, I think.
That's an obvious but good name. At least it's not Voxcast.
That would be way too cheesy.
Well, yeah, and they've had some bad history with that on social.
Have they?
Yeah, Voxcaster was the original Twitter handle for Games Workshop.
Okay.
And it was run.
Twitter
they
adept.
were not very Twitter friendly when they started Twitter, no.
I imagine there's quite a lot of trolls on there trying to get bites, and they probably answered back quite easily.
I think all the lawyers jumped in most of the time.
Yeah, not good for social media, really.
Not the best. No, they're a lot more on it these days.
That's good. Hopefully this will work out all right for them then.
Well, fingers crossed. I'd be interested to add this to my dog walking podcast roster. From the live blog, I think let's just talk through the page, the live blog, as they gave it out to the public. I'm sure everybody's probably been through this already. By the time this podcast gets published on Monday, it's Saturday at the minute, but by the time you're hearing this, it's Monday onwards. So the first big thing that they announced was the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
Yes.
Now, that's quite exciting. So we're already on to second edition. This is 3 years after the launch of Age of Sigmar. I don't play AOS.
Me neither. I'm more of a 40k fan.
Me too. I've painted a couple of the models, but they've got some cool new character main figures looking, and girls. Age of Sigmar girl stormcasts. I don't know what we're going to call them.
I think that's they're really marketing this now. It's it looks like it's going to be pretty successful, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've seen that. We were in one of the Warhammer shops the other week, and this family came in, and it was like a little boy and a little girl, and I automatically thought the little boy was going to ask for models, and it was because that's terrible of me, but the little girl was like, "Yeah, I'm here to spend my my birthday money," and Rihanna and I were like, "Yeah, get in there." And she was like, her mum's like, "Well, what do you want?" And she was like, "They're cool." So, like, all AOS stuff. So, it's great that it gets more people into it, and they're really nice models actually as well. Look at what they've released so far.
They are. I like this sort of ethereal, ghosty kind of swooshy, spirity stuff that they're doing. I don't know what they're called, but they look really fragile, but they look really cool.
Yeah, they look like they'd be an absolute pain in the ass if they weren't made out of plastic. Like, if they were the old metal ones, you'd be swearing every 5 seconds.
God, they'd be...
When you move them on the playing field, it would be
They'd just be bending and chipping everywhere, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, it would be really bad. But the moulding's so good now that hopefully they won't be too bad if you've got a good case.
Yeah, and if they, thank God they're not fine cast, because, they just melt under the lights.
Well, I'm not too sure about the spells though.
They're good-looking models, but I don't know if I'd really want to have. I mean, the purple urchin fish thing, skull.
It's weird.
What are they called?
It's like a blowerfish that's died blown up.
It is, yeah, yeah, but it's what? It's 4 times bigger than the model, than the figure that goes with it. So they've got
It's just not practical to me.
It's not practical. I mean, you want to fill if you're travelling to a tournament or going playing with friends, and you're having to pack all your miniatures into a case. Do you really want to have giant terrain pieces, bigger than terrain pieces,
no.
As spells?
They look cool.
Awesome.
And if you're lucky enough to have like a home table, that'd be quite cool to have them on the side. But not if you're tournaments or if you're at a local gaming club and you take your stuff around and they just stay in cases all the time, because it's just not practical at all.
No, I mean, this thing looks... This pufferfish. I mean, it's bigger. I mean, I've got quite a large Tau army, and this is it looks like it'll take up the same amount of space in a case as a devilfish.
It's huge.
It's massive. And then there's the my favourite is the flaming skull. I mean, that's
cool.
Awesome. I mean, that's not too big. That's about the same size as as the miniature.
No, it'd be cool to paint as well.
Yeah,
I think. Still, not very practical. But it depends if you like that kind of thing. I suppose it's pretty cool.
That would work really well.
I don't see the point in buying it otherwise.
No, I could see sort of converting that into some sort of orc biker gang kind of thing, and having some sort of Ghost Rider styled orc bikers.
Yeah, I was thinking about Ghost Rider, but I thought if you actually did a full kind of Ghost Rider conversion, you'd probably have those lawyers after you again. So they look pretty cool though. And I wonder if you could get away with that. And what's the percentage rate now for conversion parts non-GW Golden Demon?
Is it like 3%?
Yeah, could probably blag it a little bit.
And of course, I suppose no. A Golden Demon, you're not allowed to mix your 40k with fantasy, are you?
Oh, that's boring.
Or I might be wrong. I seem to remember that was a thing, that you couldn't stick a Hobbit part on a fantasy thing, and you couldn't put an orc on an orc. That's a C and a K.
I've been so long since I've entered. I've no idea anymore. I'd have to read the rules again. But,
should really read the rules.
It would make sense, I suppose. Yeah. But I thought it used to be that as long as it was Games Workshop, then you were pretty safe, weren't you? But
pretty much.
Yeah.
So there's a large sort of dinosaur skull being spelled out by an orc shaman. That looks pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Again, really cool to paint.
And pointless to carry.
Yeah.
And some dark elf sort of orbs of lightning.
Yeah, I'm not too keen on them ones. I don't think they're that good.
No?
When you look at how crazy the ones are.
Yeah, they are a
bit details.
A bit pedestrian, aren't they?
It's kind of like they did those 4 and then got to the last one and went,
What?
We'll just make something.
Yeah, let's take a Malteser and wrap some wire around it.
Like lightning. Everyone likes lightning. That'll do.
I'm impressed that they haven't made the lightning look like skulls.
It's kind of, they've gone that way with most other things, haven't they? It's kind of like a theme, and then that's just literally like lightning Maltesers.
Lightning Maltesers, yep.
That's what they're called from now on. And
there's the another one of these ghostly sort of apparitions with skulls coming out of a vortex. I rather like the sculpt of that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You could use that for like a scenery piece as
absolutely,
well.
Yeah.
For a main character model, and then have that in the background. That'd be pretty awesome.
It kind of reminds me of the creepy ghosts in Ghost. I remember when I saw that as a kid, that scared the crap out of me. all these shadows pulling them down to hell, and that actually reminds me of that. So I'm going to click off that.
That's pretty... Okay. Don't want to trigger Peter. Let's turn off.
I'll be hiding under the desk.
You're okay.
I'm all right. I'll survive.
Yeah, they look all right. Just not practical.
So I'll make sure we'll when they come out we'll get you a complete set sent direct.
Oh,
yeah.
Cheers.
And they can sit on your shelf.
But as long as I don't have to buy them, then I'm okay.
Well,
with
fair
that.
enough.
I don't know what I use them for, but if it's free.
Well, yeah, fair enough. I love this. You may have cast a purple sun before, but never like this.
Yeah, no shit, Games Workshop. Cheers.
Get ready for roaming, predatory spells, fantastical enchantments, and summoned sorceries that aren't just words on a war scroll, but active and very deadly participants in your games.
Yeah, if you threw that at someone, that's going to hurt. That is huge.
Yeah, I can see friendly tournaments and shop games going completely wrong when kids are about to rage quit and they pick up their pufferfish skull and start impaling their mates with them.
So say, like, imagine if you cast it and it went wrong, and then your psycho dies, and just pick it up and launch it at someone, and then you've got like an assault case against you. And imagine their court case for that. What happened? I threw a giant spiky pufferfish with a skull on it at someone's face in a Warhammer tournament.
Yeah.
Just be ridiculous.
Yeah, skull pufferfish are now banned from tournaments throughout the land.
It's like a deadly weapon. They basically put that in there for rage quitters. Like.
Yeah, it's actually when you rage quit, you grab it so hard that it hurts your own hand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hand injuries will increase after this is released, without a doubt. And someone turns up with a lightning, and they're like, "Oh, I can't really do anything with that."
No, it sort of snaps just by looking at it. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what these things are actually called, because the caption on the website here is Sorceries 4, Sorceries 5, and 6. Yeah, they're not named. There are some of these.
Don't want to give too much away though, do they? So.
No. But the battle shot that they've put up the picture of the Stormcasts versus the malign portents. That looks awesome. As a clash of.
And the colours are awesome.
But then it always looks awesome when you have heavy metal painters sort of filling up a board of good scenery and good models. And then you got.
That's what they get paid to do. So.
That is exactly what they get paid to do. Yeah. You got Nagash in the background, who's still kicking around from the end times.
They're really bringing him back. It's good.
Well, they've got a load of expensive models that they released only 3 years ago that they want to make some money from again, right?
Why not? If they add a little bit of new sculpt to it, and they've got better casting now, then they might as well. And these new boxes are really good. I was saying to you guys last time that even looking at the 40k starter boxes, we spent like 90 quid, and we got over like £160 worth of models, if not more than that. So when you add it up, the value for money is fantastic in them as a starter set. So it makes sense marketing wise to get out there.
Absolutely, yeah. Dropping the prices, increasing the quality, and every month bringing some new models to the shops. Mm-hmm. It's like they're running a business or something.
It is, isn't it? How strange. They don't just do this for fun, like you.
Yeah, running an international chain of shops for the love of it.
That's probably why they're richer than we are, though. So it's all good.
I don't think that's really hard. My kid's got a piggy bank full of coins, and guaranteed he's richer than I am.
Hellboy's taking all my money at the minute, so you know.
Yeah,
I blame Kickstarter.
I want it to take all my money as well, but I don't think I'd be able to justify that just right now. Maybe if I can get this commission paid for soon, before Hellboy runs out, I might throw some money at it.
Oh, yeah.
Because, from February next year, then I'd, be doing nothing but painting. It'll be up to 150 models by the time this Kickstarter finishes, won't it? But we'll come on to that in a minute. So, yes. Looking at the official summary of what they've put up there, so we've got a new edition of Age of Sigmar, the Night Haunt, which is an army of hateful, sinister spectres. So I'm guessing the Night Haunt is, would that be these new bad guys with Nagash?
Yeah, looks like it. They look pretty spooky, don't they?
The Sacrosanct Chamber opening, revealing Stormcast wizards. So the Lord Ordinator, which was previewed earlier in the year, so that'll have been Adepticon.
Engineers.
Of these guys, engineers, magi and priests who tend the soul forges of the Stormcast Eternals. So these are what the Middle Ages, medieval tech priests.
Yeah, sounds like it. It sounds pretty cool, actually. They could go a lot of places with that, depending on what their sculpts are. But
yeah,
conversion-wise, that'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely, they're looking pretty cool already. I'm not sure about this. The look of the Stormcasts. I mean, they are just Space Marines.
I think I get really bored of painting them.
I got bored of painting one.
They're very samey,
Well, you haven't, as you said, you haven't done your Space Marine chapter yet.
No, very samey.
They're a little bit samey, yeah. But yeah, the thumbnail I've got in front of me is a guy riding a lizard horse.
Mm-hmm. Lizard horse,
yeah.
I like it.
And that looks pretty cool. I do like a good beast of burden.
The animals look cool, and I think you could probably mess around with them quite a bit and paint them quite differently. But yeah, I suppose the actual riders, you're gonna have to keep them quite uniformal, otherwise you won't pull off the army look. But I think I think there's going to be a lot of chances to go outside the book with this, because what Games Workshop put across as a perfect paint job and what other people like to do and rebel against is quite interesting. So I look forward to seeing some of the box painted up.
Yeah, me too. There's plenty of quality painting that doesn't fit by the heavy metal standard, which I like. I suppose I aspire to that standard, but at the same time I go my own way because I can't do that. Yeah. So next up, it's the Plastic Sisters.
Oh, I'm so excited about these.
They look great.
They look amazing.
Now, the main one that they've shown with all the scars on her face and the fleur de lis corset. That was sculpted by Darren Lathan, who used to paint for the heavy metal team, and he now designs. I follow him on Twitter, and he's a hell of a painter, and it would seem he's a hell of a sculptor as well.
Just a little bit. This is incredible sculpt. It is amazing.
And this is plastic. I mean, you've got
so no resin.
Yeah. No resin, no metal. You've got this plastic sister sitting on. I mean, it looks like it's a large base.
Like a chapel floor or something, isn't it?
It's a chapel floor with a couple of candlesticks either side of her. I mean, that's great.
Just look, the detail is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and
compared to the old models, it's like that's what you expected when you open the old like metal blisters, but you never really got it.
No, it was always a bit soft where it's been bouncing around. I mean,
but these look awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is a photograph of a real thing. I think it's a render. So I look forward to seeing what the actual physical product looks like. But I don't see that it's going to be far different from that.
No, we can only hope that it's at least like it, because even if it's just like it, it'll still be amazing. But if it's perfect, then it's just a bonus.
It
really,
is,
isn't it?
yeah. It's going to be a lot of sub-assemblies for painting, though. There's so many overhangs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to cross her. She looks quite badass.
Absolute badass, even with the corset. I'm sure people will kick off.
Yes, I mean we've got girls now fighting in power armor, and we've got girly stormcasts, and it's already kicked off on Twitter today. People getting up in arms about this age-old fantasy issue of men designing women. So you've got to stick big boobs on it, and if she's in armor, suddenly the armor has to be booby-shaped.
You know, it's strange. So I saw this model today when you sent me the link about the live blog, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. And then, like, the second thought in my mind was, oh, so they stuck with the boobs. Cool. And I was like, is it really necessary? Probably not. But these have been, like, canon for so many years. The artwork has always been the same.
Yeah.
Yes, it was created in a time before everyone got offended by everything, and women can't wear corsets anymore, which is ridiculous. She can wear what she wants, and I wouldn't argue with her. She's got a massive bolter, so let her crack on.
And a grenade on her belt.
Yeah, so, like, if she wants to wear that, let her wear it. Please don't kill me. You know, so they've got to stick to canon in some ways, and this is one of the models. It's like they've released it because that is the typical, you know, sister. That's the artwork that's always been there, and people recognise that. It's like an emblem, you know, or it's a brand, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So by releasing that, people will see, oh my god, yeah, cool, sisters are coming back out. However, if you look at some of the other models that they've released snapshots of, so most of them are covered up. So yeah, this one is like this, and people will probably get offended about it because they can. But at the end of the day, it's canon, and if you don't like it, just don't buy the models.
There you go. Yeah.
Don't paint them.
Do you not think that the artwork? So you've got the photograph of the render, and then behind it's the old artwork, sort of all faded out, mottled out. That painting, to me, looks like it was modelled on Deborah Harry.
It does, doesn't it?
If she was...
Bit of Blondie going on in the back.
Yeah, it's totally Blondie in power armor.
But to be honest, well, these came out when originally, like the 80s, maybe later.
I think early 90s.
The artwork, yeah. So it's probably quite likely that they
inspired
were
by,
based on popular culture, yeah. So, and that was like a long time ago now. So
yeah,
I wouldn't say how old I was then, but yeah, they, you know, I don't really care. I think if people are going to get offended by it, they will anyway. And like I said, if you don't like them, just don't buy them, and then you don't have to worry about it every day, do you? So
true.
I think it looks awesome.
I mean, you know, in terms of getting offended, Ian sent through a picture of one of the new cheerleaders for the Blood Bowl. There are now cheerleader squads for everybody, including a very very well endowed orc cheerleader.
Amazing.
And she looks like she's been eating many pies.
Wow.
She's she's a big green mushroom.
Well, she's an orc. They're all pretty big. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, have you seen this picture?
I haven't. No, you're going to send it me because I'm going to see this. But
so listeners, have a look for the orc cheerleaders and just have a giggle if you're playing Blood Bowl. I mean, it's pretty comedy anyway that all of these grim dark factions that are trying to kill each other are having a game of American football. So having cheerleader squads made of of orc women is just I'm trying to not fall off my chair at the minute.
It's amazing. I mean, well, that's the thing, isn't it? They're not given into body stereotypes, so screw it, we'll do what we want. And that's the cool thing about sci-fi fantasy is that we can do what we want in it, really, because it's all made up. So why not?
There you go. I think you hit the nail on the head.
And if people kick off, then really, are Space Marines a realistic view of a bloke? They're all massive. So, if they want to kick off about these women being overly womanly, then they're probably going to have to kick off about how Space Marines are all hench. So it's one of those things.
I mean, they obviously modelled the Space Marines off me. 8 foot tall, genetically engineered, sort of perfection.
8-pack, massive.
No, I'm like Batman. I have a 9-pack.
Yeah, cool. One extra.
That's right. That's.
I love that film.
Yes, I was about to mansplain the Lego thing to you then, and I thought, no, I don't need to.
I'm literally surrounded by it right now. It's my paint corner and my Lego corner, and they're right next to each other, so it's great.
Yeah, that's what I had intended for this shed that I'm in, and it's ended up a bit more cluttery than I really wanted.
Well, I set you up with a new shed friend the other day, so it's up to you now to get out there and design the way forward.
Yes, thank you. I saw somebody posted on one of my Twitters. There's a shed trying to beat a land speed record somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's on. Is it on Top Gear or somewhere or something like that? It's
like the normal land speed record, as in.
I can't imagine they're trying to chase Bloodhound SST, but
because that's like 780 miles an hour. That's like.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally it's a 10x6 shed. By the looks of it, a shiplap wooden shed with two.
Straight away, aerodynamics is going to screw you over there, isn't it?
I think that was part of the caption. Yeah.
But hey, it's worth a try. I'd like to see it.
So, what's next on today's announcements? A new webcomic. I don't care two shits about webcomics, personally. I'm happy for somebody to make clippings and stick them on Twitter so I can lol in my feed, but I can't be doing sitting around and reading other people's comics all the time. Nobody got time for that.
Nobody got time for that.
Certainly I don't got time for that. So We Are the Storm of Retribution. They've got a few frames of it on the...
It's turbo cheesy, isn't it?
It's really cheesy. And of course they've...
I think this is again their marketing thing, isn't it? Where they're looking at... Well, I like to say they're looking at probably younger people, but maybe not.
Maybe. I mean, they've got guy with ponytail talking to girl with a hammer. Age of Sigmar.
Does she have booby armour?
Okay. Yes, she does.
Oh,
just slightly, but
see, there they go
but
again.
to be fair, so does he.
She's got massive, awesome abs though. So
yeah, yeah, but I mean, he's got big booby armour as well and a ponytail.
He does, yeah. They're thinking of this. They're all over.
They are all over it, yeah. And of course, it ends with a guy in a plaid shirt and a black t-shirt, role playing with his little inch-high toys.
So I presume that he's going pew 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 and stuff.
I guess so. Well, I mean, we all do.
Yeah. I don't think they had to put it down on paper though. Like, everyone likes doing it. I don't think anyone likes to admit it, but it's cool.
I mean, it's nicely drawn. I just hope that I hope the quality improves on the writing.
Yeah, it's like they went to all this effort to bring out like a really cool frames and stuff, and then I don't know what went wrong when they put the comments on it, but we'll see where it goes. I suppose I kind of want to read it now to see what happens next.
Yeah,
but not in like a.
I guess
because I'm more worried about the story than anything else. Where do they take it from here? Is it just this guy's mind? Is this like Inception? I don't know.
It's Inception, or we'll go back to it's the Lego Movie.
Cheers. Yes, and they might come alive and see a cat poster. I don't know.
Oh, they've got to believe. Yeah.
If you believe, you can do it.
Well, I mean, in the movie, if you ever saw the Ultramarines animated film that they made, they spent a lot of money on that. It was not very good.
Many years ago, yeah. It was crap.
It was bloody awful. But they had some quality voice work. I mean, John Hurt was in it. Mm-hmm. So they could get Will Ferrell to lend his likeness to this webcomic.
That would be so cool. If they could, like, actually get him to do that.
I think that would be a great crossover.
We need to send this to them as an idea.
Yep, Games Workshop, if you're listening, and I can almost guarantee that you're not. We both of us, all two of us here, think that you should have Will Ferrell as playing this guy's dad, in the webcomic.
Mm-hmm. Yep, starts with two of us, and you know.
And within a week,
so.
In 2 weeks, Mantic have managed to get nearly 11,000 backers for Plastic Hellboy game. So why in 2 weeks' time should we not have 11,000 people banging on my shed door saying yes, we agree with you?
Yeah, let's do that. So, can we start a Kickstarter to like get support for this? We don't need any money. We just need them to listen. Maybe we can do it off like social media asks or something.
Like one of those YouGov petition pages.
Yeah, like 10,000 signatures is it or something, and then you can send it up to government.
Yeah.
We could just do that for Games Workshop.
Well, if the House of Commons has to comment on it, then Games Workshop will have to listen.
Yeah, and they're like one of the biggest companies in the UK, so like, you know, it's quite important, I think.
And as far as I know, they pay their taxes, right? So they'll definitely.
Oh, you'd think so.
I hope so.
Yeah, can't imagine why not.
So Stormcast, the official Warhammer Age of Sigmar podcast, which will be starting later in the year. They haven't actually said when.
Nope.
Or if they have, they haven't told me.
I don't think they've announced anything else. It says, though, that there's more information coming out tomorrow, so maybe they'll give time and dates and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow, obviously, we're recording Saturday evening, and tomorrow is Sunday, as the song tells us that follows Saturday. I don't know where I'm going with that. I've sort of stuck back in 2009-10, sort of Rebecca Black telling me which day of the week I'm on.
Oh, please do not go there. I've only just got that song out of my head.
Yeah. So it's Golden Demon tomorrow. So hopefully next time we talk, we'll have Ian, who will be at the show tomorrow, and so he'll be able to tell us a lot of what happened there. And I think
if he's not getting drunk with Dave,
I think he'll be peeling Dave off the carpet. I think he's probably still going to be there.
As long as someone's there to look after him, it's okay.
I trust that he can look after himself. He's a grown boy.
Yeah. We'll see how much wine he has, shall we?
I can't wait to see what he comments, having never actually stepped foot into our podcast. He'll listen to this on Monday and say, "What the fuck, guys?"
We'll go, "You left us, this is what you get." Sorry.
Yeah, you
sorry.
decided to go and drink it up instead.
See where your priorities lie, Dave.
You get a certificate and a lot of wine.
God damn you! I'm just jealous, really. That's all.
Not for the certificate, more for the wine, right?
Wine, yeah, definitely. The certificate he completely earned, so that's all on him.
Yes, and well deserved as well. But we'll blow some smoke when we actually talk to him.
Yes, we'll pick him up when he's here.
I'm seeing photos here of lots of cosplay.
Oh, I love this stuff. It's my fave.
Cosplay in Coventry.
We haven't done Warhammer yet, though. We've done a lot of like Comic-Cons. We've not cosplayed any Warhammer type stuff, so this could be something in the future.
There you go.
This could be an idea. Costumes are pretty difficult to make, I think, because all of them are obviously quite intricate, so it would be difficult. But these guys have done a great job.
Yes, they have.
They look awesome.
The Imperial Guard guy looks pretty good. I've seen the Khorne Berserker chap. He was at one of the. Was he at a Comic-Con?
They are quite often there. I've seen a couple of these guys before. It might not be these specific guys, but I recognise the outfits. As in, I've seen them in different places, but especially the film and Comic-Cons.
Yes.
Because they always have a gaming area. So there's one at we went to for the Love of Sci-Fi last year, and they had quite a few there in like Ultramarines and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I remember it was Olympia Film and Comic Con. I think about 3-4 years ago that I saw this guy. I suppose if you're going to spend time and money making an outfit like that, you want to show it off as many places as you possibly can.
Yeah, and coming from someone who's used these a lot, it's like the amount of effort you put in, but then also the amount of damage that it gets is surprising throughout the day. So I imagine he's probably done some adjustments on it a few times, or had to fix a few bits.
I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, you've got some good options for costumes now with all of the stuff, and you can choose booby armour or not.
I can go as a sister with giant booby armour for no reason.
And you can just wear those fleur-de-lis all over.
I might do it just for the haters, because it's funny.
Just don't go as an orc cheerleader.
I could do that.
I'll find you that picture. I'll send that over to you in a bit.
Oh yes, I need to see this.
It's quite scary.
In fact, I'm gonna Google this now. 1 second. It's a Blood Bowl, isn't it? Yeah. This is gonna be... Oh, okay.
Right, describe what you're seeing.
I'm not sure which ones are the most recent, but they're all equally as horrendous.
Well, I mean, the one with the pom-poms is an old one, but it's not far away from that.
Who designed these?
Hang on, let me just send you. I've found the picture. I'll send it to you on Messenger.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who can sculpt.
Oh, she looks angry. She's hench, like.
Oh yeah.
She's really hench. I would not mess with her.
No, she scares the shit out of me. As
beast.
An orc probably should.
Yeah. I regret googling this, if I'm honest. I'm gonna go back and look at some cosplay, because that. Yeah,
the cosplay's a lot more pleasant to look at. Yeah.
That scarred me a little bit. Don't know how I feel about that.
So there's a group shot. It looks like is that a towel at the back?
Mm.
I can't tell what in the white armour behind the two IGs.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
It's more the weaponry that
yes.
It's is that like Shadow Sun or something like that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't see many. I don't think it's really hard to make them, but I don't think you see many Tau cosplayers. Obviously, Space Marines are going to be the most popular, but that's a really that's like a really cool outfit. I wish I got a picture of them by themselves because you don't see that often.
No, you don't. I'm sure we'll see a picture of some more pictures.
I like the one where the IG guys is lying on the floor, very deaded.
Very deaded.
And just looking over them like, oh, I did something.
So, oops.
Oops.
Oops. Yes, can't turn them. Gonna have to eat them.
Oh, killed them again. Damn it.
Yeah, the blue Space Marine looks pretty cool though.
The Weatherine's awesome on
yeah,
that.
what is he? He's in Imperial Crimson Fist. Yeah.
There's a bit of Pedro going on.
Yeah, that's really good.
It almost looks. You have like in the codex, like the posters.
Yeah.
Of the chapter masters, and he's got that weathering effect down so good that it looks like he's just stepped out of a poster. It's pretty cool.
There's a tagline. Not that you just stepped out of the salon, which I think was a 90s hair care product thing. Yeah, no, I don't know where I'm going to go with that. I'll just stop while I'm behind.
We were all waiting, but
nothing happened. No, that's a recurring theme, I'm afraid.
Never mind.
It's okay. It happens to everybody, right? Mm-hmm. So, live blog 7. I'm on from the crypts.
They look
the
cool.
Night Haunts. I want
fragile.
Yeah. Keep them displayed under glass. But
That wouldn't. It wouldn't be something I'd play with, but I definitely do it for display purposes. Really cool.
that ghostly executioner guy. That's a definite want. I mean, he's got a hangman's noose strapped to his back. He's holding an axe, and he's got a whole spirit horde flying around with him.
It's a really cool model. It's like when they were designing it, they're like, right, what else can we add to this? Someone kept throwing ideas in, and they just had this list on a board, and they're like, you know what, we're just going to make it and see what happens. Yeah. And then that was born, and it's actually turned out really well.
Yeah, but is that... How the hell does that stand up straight?
No idea, but it looks awesome, so it's worth trying, I suppose.
I like the paint job here from the axe tip. As it blends into the ethereal swoosh.
Yeah, some really nice technique work there. I think it took me a lot of practicing to get that down, but
yeah,
they're really good models to do display quality work on.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to buy any though this year, so maybe next year.
Well, they'll be on seconds next year. We'll be able to get them on eBay. Nice and cheap. Probably already painted for you.
You see?
Dipped and varnished.
I'm not into that. I'd have to paint them myself.
Well, yeah. But as you probably know, I do love a good eBay Pro Paint.
Well, you didn't say Pro Painted, so if we're going to go down that road, then I would definitely buy that.
Pro Painted on eBay for damn sure.
Yeah, like that is genuine. Like that's real shit. Like hashtag Pro Painted. Like that's real experts most of the time. So yeah, I would definitely buy them if they were Pro Painted on eBay. That wasn't in the equation piece.
Oh, sorry, I did. I missed out the one word pro. There looks to be some Skaven. Ghost Skaven.
Yeah, the guys with the little kind of mini scythes at the bottom. They are pretty cool.
That's awesome. Whatever the hell they are, they look brilliant.
I love the skeletons, or They all look like, obviously, ghouly skeletons, which are really cool.
Yeah, I've just
They
finished
should be
painting.
in the vampire army, but not.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've just finished painting some skeletons, and one of the first things I painted 20-odd years ago were skeletons. So I've got a great fondness for painting skellies. They're great.
These would be like, if you were going to use them as an army, they'd be really fast to paint, really good to batch paint, because they wouldn't take long at all.
No, once you've figured out how to do a nice ghostly wet blend.
Even then, if you just wanted them at tabletop, you could literally crack on, put a few washes on there, smash on some highlights, and you're good to go.
Fair enough,
like,
yeah.
If you wanted a quick army, they'd be actually really good to do. And then obviously spend a little bit more time on your characters, but to get like quite a lot of these guys ready in time would be quite easy, I think, if you were playing with them.
Well, you should get some of these and do that as one of your first videos when you get set up doing the videos.
I could try, see how long it takes to batch paint.
There you go, 20 skeletons in 1.5 hours.
Challenge accepted. Next year, though. I'll write that down and add it to the list. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
We need to stop releasing such cool models.
There's it looks like a character model, but I can't quite tell what the character is. It's ghostly swooshes with arms, carrying padlocks and keys.
Yeah, padlock guy's cool.
I don't know what it is, but it's awesome.
Again, I think they just kind of, with these lot, I think they kind of just went to the whiteboard and were like, you're right, who's got crazy ideas? And someone went, padlocks? And pow, there you go. So they've got a hangman noose scythe guy with ghouls around him and a padlock dude. So, sorted.
The hangman guy kind of reminds me of a sort of Harry Potter Dementor kind of, or there's some
trademark.
Oh, I'm allowed to say it.
Oh no, you are. I'm just mean Games Workshop. Funny.
I'm sure they've already thought of this.
Love me some Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So I'm all for
there is
that.
a Dementor Quidditch team just below it. They're all flying along. One of them's wearing Geordie LaForge's. Three of them are wearing Geordie's little visor.
Yep, and they're all Slytherin, of course, because green.
Yep.
You could paint them up. You could actually probably. This is a good idea. You could make different teams for each house, and they could be your squads. Just saying.
Nice.
That'd be pretty cool. Harry Potter themed Nagash.
I don't think anybody would have a problem with that at all.
That'd be pretty awesome.
And
oh no, I've got an idea for a new army.
There you go.
God damn it!
The Gryffindor's ghouls.
Oh, I'm more of a Ravenclaw myself.
Okay.
So it's all about that blue.
A maroon and yellow stripe for me. Sorry.
Not Hufflepuff.
And then we move on to a re-release, or it's a re-release, but it's also a reimagining of the 80s classic Adeptus Titanicus.
These are amazing.
I can't wait to see this.
Like mini Titans. What more do you want? Like, how big are they? I couldn't really grasp the scale.
I can't quite tell how big these are.
Because there's like mini Reaver and Warlord Titans and stuff, and it's. That's pretty in plastic, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, no more having to drill out resin and pin it with crowbars.
It took me 6 months to do a Reaver Titan as a commission about 5 years ago, and I'll never ever build a Forge World Titan again by myself. Like, it was horrendous.
Really, I've never had the pleasure.
If you want to properly like magnetize it and pin it and stuff, it is just so much work, and I wasn't prepared. Like painting wise, I was all over that, but building, Jesus Christ, that was emotional at some points. So these are awesome. It's plastic. Like I don't really even care how big they are. I think they just look wicked.
Yeah. Oh, they look like they're
the
on.
mini version is great.
I think is that a 60mm base?
Yeah, it looks like they've scaled them all down, but they're still a good size to. Even if you just wanted to do a display piece on them, they're still a really good size, and probably a lot. Well, they will be a hell of a lot cheaper.
Oh, they will, yeah.
How much cheaper, I'm not sure, but I mean, you can fight titans against each other. That's pretty awesome.
I saw something about pricing of a pre-order, and there was somebody put up a photo today of pre-order it today, and you get everything in the box plus this, plus this, plus this, plus this, plus that.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
I need to give Ian some money.
I might give Ian an IOU.
Get us this, please.
Buy me everything that you can possibly max out your credit card to, and one day I'll pay you back.
We promise.
Honest, Gov. Yeah.
And then we both disappear from the podcast, never to return again.
I've already gone. Yeah, these Titans
really cool.
look great, and the board looks good as well.
Yeah, so that's something new that they've made for this game. Is that included in the box, do we know, or is it a separate thing?
I think there will be a board, because it's a board game.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be board tiles. And I think...
It's just like the buyer box ones?
Yeah. I think you can expand it and enlarge it and move it to different theatres.
It's pretty cool. I suppose they'll release 3D scenery eventually to chuck on there as well.
Yeah.
Unless you want to spend big bucks and get the 3D boards.
Well, there'll be loads of third-party stuff as well that'll work with.
Yeah. Without a doubt, it's sci-fi, isn't it? So you can chuck whatever you want on there, essentially.
Yeah, depending on the scale.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of Infinity stuff working with this. If the scale works.
Yeah, I'd like to get down there and see just how big they are, actually.
Oh, and Necromunda as well. I'd forgotten that got a re-release. And they've just added some new gangs to Necromunda. I mean, if only I had anybody around here that gave a damn about playing tabletop. And having space to store all these boxes. Because there is the Necromunda Croc is my absolute favourite.
If I played it, I would be tempted. The models are really cool. Can't really justify it at the moment.
No.
Because we've got loads of other stuff to paint, but they look really awesome. And if there was, like you said, if there's more of an interest, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But I noticed the box set the other week when we went in, and I was like, Necromunda, it's been years since I've seen that out. Just like you mentioned a minute ago, but it looked really nice, and what was actually in the box was really good. Again, really good value for money. And the gangs are getting better and better, and these look like they're a great addition.
Yeah, and the bases they're on are moulded bases. That's
a cool little added extra, I think, because they cost quite a lot, even if you look at the Games Workshop ones that they've got for other armies currently. They're quite a lot of money, actually, for what they are. And to have these included with the sets would save a lot for people who like to upgrade their base.
Yeah, there's a gang here that I'm looking at the minute. Let's see, what are they called? Vansar. And they've got see-through shields. So they're running around with... I don't know what kind of guns these are. Looks like...
That's the only one I didn't click on. That's cool.
And they've got these sort of light blue, these sort of turquoise see-through riot shields that look awesome.
So are they plastic and then resin weapons? Or is that, I take it this is just for the render from what they've designed, and then it'll all be plastic when it's...
I assume it'll... Well, I mean, this is... The thing is, Specialist Games is coming from Forge World.
So it's a Forge World upgrade as a... Yeah, that would make more sense.
Are these upgrades to current models, or are they complete sets? Don't know.
With upgrades, with upgrades, models, and another instalment. So there's England, great, and.
Okay.
Another gaming toolbox, gang war, all designed to add yet more diversity to your campaigns in the Underhive.
Okay.
So I think they're upgrades, which is pretty cool. The guys, one of the guys has got a pretty cool hammer. The bottom left photo, and some pretty beastie heavy weapons going on.
Let's have a look. Hang on. Bottom left. Ah, yes.
It's pretty neat.
So would these be upgrade arms and weapons for existing bodies?
I would presume so. Looking at them, that's what.
Yeah, that does make sense with the way that Forge World tends to colour their graphics. Yeah.
The shields are really cool though. I like them, and you could use them on other things as well.
Yeah. I tried to make one of those for a Tau display a couple of years ago for Golden Demon, and it looks shit. Trial and error, and even with error, you still have to submit it for the competition.
That's true.
Because you've spent the time and you've stuck it on weak glue.
They look alright.
But I think I'll be getting one of those Crocs just as the thing to stick on top of the mantelpiece.
It's a pretty cool miniature for, just a little bit of a kind of fancy, fun creature.
I like the double eye.
Paint up. Yeah. Just looks really beastie, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't fuck with this Croc. I mean, I wouldn't get in the way of a regular crocodile. I'm not into wrestling alligators or anything like that. I'm freaking out. There's a spider crawling across the wall. It's one of these. It looks like one of these false widow things. It's got a little skull on its back, which is good for the Games Workshop feel that we've got going on.
They're creatures of habitat. They'll be fine. They just do what they want. They won't know.
I'm
Don't worry.
perfectly fine with it.
Just aware of it.
I'm very aware of it. My kids are not here right now, so I don't have to pretend not to be shit scared of spiders.
They're tiny, and it's the UK.
I know.
They're not even that poisonous, so you're okay.
I know I'm fine. I'm just more creeped out by them, I think, than I am scared. I'm not scared. It's a spider, and it's just, can't it fuck off behind the bit of wood that it keeps poking its head out and saying hello. It's like, stop it.
Please. Like, I'm cool with them, just like piss off, you know.
Like, I know it's nice and warm up here because we've got the lights and the computer on and everything, but fuck off. So yeah, I don't want to mess with a 10mm arachnid. So one of these.
So you won't want to mess with a croc.
4-ride Crocs with chains on it is that can stay wherever that's meant to be living. But I'd definitely paint one.
Yeah, that's a cool piece to paint, without a doubt.
And then Blood Bowl stuff. Scrolling a bit further up the announcements page, they've got some. Are those pitches?
Yeah, so these are new playing pitches. So 2 new pitches and dugout sets. So they're pretty cool. A little bit of diversity there for other teams, which is good.
Team booster pack.
More humans.
Yep. And Forge World Trolls. They look cool.
They're really cool minis, actually. They'll be quite fun to paint.
I've always liked the Forge World Trolls.
Cool. I just like Forge World in general, I think.
But they do good work.
Little add-ons.
Yeah. I have lots of boxes of Forge World, and very little of it have I touched.
Just not Reaver Titans, because they break me, but the rest of it's great.
I mean, one day I really want to build the Tau Manta. But that that thing's as big as my shed, and costs £1,000.
Well, that's the other issue, isn't it? The size of them. Luckily, I didn't keep the Reeve Titan that I had built because it was a commission, but it stood at nearly 2 foot tall with weapons on. So
right.
I don't know where the hell I'd put it. They are massive.
And there's not many games that you could actually use it in.
No. They're a great display if you've got the room. What I like the most and what I've got the most of Forge World wise is the little tank add-ons, infantry accessory packs, that kind of stuff. So just to add a little bit more variety and
I've got
design some models.
shoulder pads, and I was doing a display of it was a drop pod with Imperial Fist Space Marines coming out of it, and every single one had a conversion on it. One with I think it was a bionic leg, which I think I got that. I took it off a what's it called? A Necron. But everything else was had the Imperial Fist upgrade pack on it, and different legs, different arms, and I never finished it. It's boxed, and I don't remember where.
It's one of the reasons why I like them though, is because obviously I've got my own chapter, and there's loads of shoulder pads and stickers out for other chapters, but they do the generic armour doors and rhino armour and stuff for the tanks, and so that's great for me because I can put them all those kind of armoured doors and things on my Land Raiders and stuff, and it looks really cool, but I don't have to chuck a chapter symbol in there that's not my own, which is great because normally you're just so fixed with what you can do with extra models, so they're pretty versatile.
Cool. Yeah. If I had any tanks in my army, I'd probably do that.
I've not painted them yet, mind, but I've got them.
Well, that's fair enough. Yeah, I've got.
They've been there for 4 years.
I've got loads of Tau stuff. The Riptide battlesuit, but I've got the upgrade version of the Riptide. I forget what it's called. It's letters and numbers.
I know what you mean. I can't remember what it's called though, but I know what you mean.
But it's got some really cool upgrade bits on it, and that thing stands about 10 inches tall, I think.
Bit of a beast.
Yeah. I've got a tank which I'm going to be posing it on it, so it's crushing the tank. It's
quite accurate, probably.
Do you reckon accurate? Yeah.
Probably crush it.
Oh, if it's a little tank.
Like a tiny rhino or something, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've probably got a Bull Predator that that'll do.
That'll be fine.
I mean, it's sci-fi fantasy. You can do whatever you want. You said that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's make believe. It's cool.
More Blood Bowl stuff. There's their magazine. It's called Spike.
Yes.
And they're advertising here issue 2.
How much is that again, though?
Couldn't tell you.
I think it's quite expensive for what it is. I'll have a bit of research.
SpikeTournament.com. Is that it?
£6.80 I've got it at.
Holy shit, that's an expensive magazine.
That's a very expensive. That's more expensive than White Dwarf's sitting at $5.99. So
is it?
It's meant to be £8. That's reduced on. Yeah, that's reduced.
It's £8 for Spike.
£8 if you bought it from like say Smiths or something. £8.
Okay.
So I don't know how how big it is, as in page-wise. If you're a massive Blood Bowl fan, then I imagine that you might be interested. So we'll have to get some feedback on that one. But I'm not really. It's not. I wouldn't spend £8 on that.
No, I wouldn't. But
that's just me. But then I don't have a Blood Bowl. I do have a Blood Bowl team. Actually, I lie. I've got a Dwarf Blood Bowl team. I don't play it
fair
though.
enough.
So if I was playing it, I might be interested, but I definitely wouldn't buy it at full price.
No, is it? I can't tell. Is it monthly? Is it quarterly?
Let's have a look. It's a journal, so I'd probably say.
Is it weekly?
Monthly? I'd say monthly. But I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Nothing really says. Hopefully it's not weekly, because that is expensive per month.
That is that's almost a build your own DeLorean kind of magazine prices then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot.
And some more Forge World, by the looks of things. New Proteus pattern land speeder.
That looks cool.
Yeah. It's based on the original Rogue Trader design from the 80s.
It's got a very vintage look.
It does, yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
No, that looks really cool. I like that. I mean, it almost looks like they're on a ski lift.
The weapon choices are pretty awesome as well, because even if you're not going to fit it to this, if you can get them separately, they look really good on other models. If you can get away with using them.
Let's have a look at those. Oh yeah, yeah, and those will be interchangeable.
Oh, without doubt, yeah. They're pretty cool.
And no doubt they'll start selling those separately as well as upgrades for other things. Now they've got them for this.
You'd hope so.
And what's this big knight? The Mechanicum Knight Acastus.
Knight Acastus.
He looks pretty cool. Can't tell how big he is. I mean, he's just a render.
The description. What if you combined the Acastus Knight Porphyrion with even more barely understood and horrifying techno-weaponry from the Age of Darkness? Yeah, I think they nailed it.
Yeah. He's quite...
Back to skulls.
Back to skulls, and he's quite imposing. Scary dude.
If you had him on the battlefield and a massive, pufferfish, spiky skull head, that'd be it.
That's all you need.
They'd be running away.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find a rule that has him with a psyker and a spiky blowfish.
I'm never going to look at that seriously. Who are these guys?
Alpha Legion Praetors.
There's quite a lot of them already out, I think. There's more added, but the sculpt's looking even better than they used to. So
yeah, and
that'll be cool.
This is what's this thing? It's a Horus Heresy tank. It crosses a Predator with an Aurochs armoured transport.
I want one of these. I think it looks really random. Like, someone just grabbed it and gone, shit, we need a tube on the side. Let's just put the exhaust there. Cool. And then, this is broken. Let's just grab a bit of that vehicle and chuck it on. It's very Mad Maxy.
It is, yeah.
I think it's awesome.
I
might get one.
Colour-wise, though, I get this sort of... It's almost like somebody's taken some sort of Far Eastern, food box with all that's been out in the rain for a bit. You've got all the gold and the faded blue, and it just looks like a box of tilde basmati rice that's become a tank.
Interesting concept. Are we going to have to paint one like that now? Like, have the back as a food hatch.
That'd be great. Yeah, it's the Horus Heresy food drop.
Like, hey guys, food's here. The logistics have arrived.
Yeah, it's the it's the 31st millennium, but everybody still loves a curry.
Now that is an epic diorama about to happen, isn't it? Like, that's an expensive.
That is an expensive
diorama. Just a queue of like Imperial Guard blokes waiting for some curry with mess tins and a spork.
And a spork, yeah.
You've got to have a spork.
Well, why carry a fork and a spoon?
Or you can have a spinork if you've got the little edge on it, for cutting.
A spinork.
If you want to go posh, spinork. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm all over these. Why carry 3 when you can have one? All sorted.
It's all about the rationing of weight, isn't it?
You can call them racing spoons. They work really well. They're good. But yeah, I think the diorama, like a kind of a comedy one, would be quite cool at the back of this, if you wanted to go that way.
I kind of do. Add it to your to-do list.
We should do this. Collaboration. Oh God, I've got so much work to do after this podcast. I feel like we should be left alone.
Yeah, we get the sketch pad out and start figuring out sketch pad on one side, Excel spreadsheet on the other, and an order pad, and just say no.
And excuses to the bank when I don't pay my mortgage.
I'm sorry, Barclays mortgage people. I'm building an Imperial Guard curry drop. Oh, fair enough. Sorry, yeah, we'll let you have a 2-month mortgage holiday.
Oh, excellent. That's cracking.
Great, that will pay for Hellboy.
It's not going to happen, though, is it? Oh, yeah, well, that's getting bigger than Ben-Hur.
I've just scrolled up a little bit and having a look at what are they calling her? Janisha Kroll, Commander of the Sisters of Silence.
Don't know if I like this sculpt. I think her head's really big. I don't know. It doesn't look right somehow.
It does look a bit big. It seems a bit too far off her neck, off her shoulders.
Maybe they've just got big heads, I don't know, but it just looks a bit out of proportion somehow.
She's wearing the same corset as we saw earlier.
She is. She's owning it.
Absolutely. Big feathers on her shoulders, and a very, very, very imposing tattoo on her forehead.
Yeah, she's not scared, is she? She went there.
I mean, that's a good 50 quid spent there. Down to the local tattoo parlour. Can I please have an Aquila stamped right in the middle of my forehead, please?
I feel like we need Dan Abnett to write a backstory to this. Like, she got drunk with her mates, took a dare, went down to the tattoo parlour, got it done, but like he needs to elaborate on that because I'm crap at story writing, so that'd be quite a funny little bit, I think, if he could do that, that'd be great.
Right, so
that would be a good comic. They need to put this in the new comic.
In the new comic, yeah. Hey kids.
Yeah, that's...
Because obviously don't do this. Kids, stay in school, don't do drugs. Don't waste your money on forehead tattoos.
On your forehead.
They are for life. Yeah, tattoos not for Christmas.
YOLO is not cool.
God. Yeah, no regrets.
Not cool. Regrets. Tattoo typos, you could spend all day laughing.
That's my favourite one, I think. Now, I don't get why this is here. It's more than just a retool of the old kit. It's a Dreadnought drop pod. Did Forge World get rid of the Dreadnought drop pods for a while?
I think they might have done. It looks cool. I've never wanted to buy one. I don't see the point.
I built one from scratch. built one from scratch. I scratch built the
special.
plasticard one, yeah, a few years ago, and it's I binned it when I moved, but because it's just plasticard and who gives a shit.
Yeah.
I'm about.
It's not like 300 quid.
No, and it didn't open or anything because I didn't have a dreadnought to stick in it at the time.
No, fair enough.
But I've got the plan, so I'm going to redo it. I've got one of this automatic computer-controlled cutting machine that I've been sent to play with, and they just sent me some new blades and things to cut with. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to cut through some plasticard with this and get some accurate cuts. And make this again, but now they've.
Trial piece.
I might do this again, yeah.
I think if you're going to make them, it's a lot different, isn't it? Because it's like trial and error, a little bit different. I don't think I'd buy one. I don't see the point. I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to drop him from a height, probably, if I want to go for dramatic effect and hope that it doesn't break. But then again, I don't have a contempt to dreadnought, so who knows? That's my buy list for next year.
That's fair enough.
Just not the pod. So.
Yeah, I mean, the scale of this is, I remember it's a little bit bigger than the standard drop pod. And so a dreadnought looks good inside it because it's only a 3 petal as opposed to a 5.
Yeah.
But it's still not quite to scale to the actual thing that it's carrying.
It says 10-foot tall armoured sarcophagus covered in guns and filled with an angry space marine directly to your enemy's most vulnerable flank. But it just doesn't look that angry to me. Like, if that opened up and I was the enemy, I'd go...
Oh, right. It's that, just one of those. Now, if it was 5 of them...
Listen. Yeah.
But that's a hell of a, that's a lot of packaging for one robot.
It is, and it looks to me like the doors might fail to open.
Well, I mean, the last time...
Something would go wrong.
I think the last time I played a game with drop pods, we had a deep strike error, and it crashed on the side of a mountain, and it wouldn't open properly.
Oh, there you go.
So I think only one of the doors opened, so all of the Marines had to climb out and do difficult terrain for about 5 rounds to get to the top of the mountain.
It was a complete waste of time.
Oh, it was great fun. And right at the top there was a massive orc horde waiting just to obliterate them. So
they climb up knackered and then they're like, ugh.
Yeah. And none of them had jump packs.
Ah, decent.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so they were literally just climbing.
Yeah, so I don't think it's cool. Wouldn't get it, but that's just me.
No, fair enough. I quite like the spider things. What are they calling it? It's an Imperial Knight-sized crawler that looks to be an ambitious cryptek. An ambitious cryptek decided to build a tomb spider as large as a Tesseract vault. And that's to...
Necrons are cool.
And they've put a scale marine to that. This thing is huge.
Yeah, it's pretty big for what it is. It's a really cool build, actually. I think it'll be a pain in the ass to put together.
Yes, making sure that sits level is going to be a major job. Lots of blue tack before super glue.
I'd be intrigued to see the build actually and how it comes, like pre-assembly.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee the legs are going to be one piece, and then the feet are going to be one piece. The legs are going to be 2 pieces.
Yeah, the join and
The elbow.
Angle bend. Yeah, and then the knife edge.
And then whatever that's a...
The gun's cool, though.
That is a really cool gun.
It's a bit of a beast, isn't it?
You could have every glow effect that you could possibly think of going throughout that.
I mean, if that landed down out of the atmosphere, I would be shitting my pants.
Yep.
So, I'd play that if I had a Necron army, which are pretty cool, but normally quite samey. This is a bit different, so I think it'd be a really nice addition to a Necron army. Not so samey.
Yeah, I kind of like that. That would be, what's that going to be? I reckon that's about 150 quid.
Easily. It's pretty big, and then the detail of it as well.
And you're going to need a lot of hot water to straighten out those.
That's all I think of now when I see like big Forge World models. It's just soapy water, hair dryers, toothbrushes to brush off all the resin, moulding agent. It's kind of ruined it for me a bit.
And
they're really nice once you get them squared away.
Absolutely, yeah. And a face mask just while you're pinning it and drilling out holes so you're not breathing that shit in.
Yeah, so you don't like get lung cancer as you're trying to build an awesome model.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want that.
Resin's not good for you.
Yeah, when our generation sort of hits 60, 70 and we're all having respiratory problems, it won't be asbestos. Because that's all gone. There's very little asbestos left anymore, I think. It's so you were a nerd when you were a kid, were you? Yeah. Yeah, I pinned.
You're into hobbying.
Yeah, you used to play with resin when you were in your 20s and 30s, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Or fiberglass or anything else that can get in there.
Yeah, heavy smoker? No, never smoked a day in my life, but I inhaled a lot of particulate crap.
But I love Forge World. Resin.
Yeah, Forge World Widow. Which is what my wife will be in a few years' time, no doubt.
Well, that went south real quick, didn't it? Never mind.
I'll get that insurance policy out now.
For anyone struggling with these problems, we're really sorry in advance.
Yeah, I mean, we're not making fun of it. It's a very serious thing that we don't want to wear a bloody mask if you're drilling out resin.
It's crazy, isn't it? But I think they're a lot safer nowadays. So
Yeah.
Better than the old lead metal models. That was always fun.
I haven't had any problems from that, I'm sure.
Again, we'll find out in a few years.
Very likely, yeah. So scrolling up a little bit further up, there is... who is that? That is a hell of a kit. It's a... I've gone past the dragon. That's a hell of a dragon. That's lovely.
The one above it is...
It's a Corn Lord on a dragon. The biggest Warhammer Age of Sigmar kit
massive.
ever.
It's a really cool piece, but yeah, I wouldn't want to store that for gameplay.
No.
I'd leave it out on the table permanently because I think it deserves it. I would never put it in a box, but only if I had my own gaming table at home.
I would take a photo of it and make it like a cardboard proxy of it.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah, so I bought this. I spent 400 quid on this thing, and it looks fucking awesome. But I'm not bringing it for you to touch. So here's a picture.
No.
And look, it's just eaten all of your men. No, give. Yeah,
I printed this on plastic card because you're not touching the real thing because you're not worthy.
I mean,
it's mine.
Under my desk, I've got an old 2nd edition fantasy box set. Was it second? No, 4th edition, I think. With high elves and goblins, and all of the monsters in it are cardboard cutouts.
It's because it would have cost them too much money to print them.
Absolutely, but they work fine. It's a nice cartoon picture of a dragon, and you stick it on a little plastic stand, and that's part of the game.
So you could get that out and buy one of these and use that dragon if you played.
Yeah, I think that...
So you'd already have a proxy, you'd be squared away.
That is the Models Workshop After Hours UK tip of the week.
Buy a proxy.
Yeah, buy the thing, enjoy the thing, and then make a proxy out of a piece of tissue paper. Or whatever the hell you want, take a picture of your mum and cut it out, stick it on a stand and say, look, I have the scariest dragon on the table.
We're going to kick your butt.
She will send you to your room.
That'll probably scare quite a few geeks, actually, to be honest.
Well, picture of any women on the table.
That's a good point.
Not to, sully the good name of the stereotypical gaming geek, but when a girl walks into the shop, everybody goes silent.
It doesn't happen so much anymore.
Does it not?
Actually. No, it's gotten a lot better. When it used to make me laugh so much. It used to happen all the time, but yeah, I think because with the popularization of board games and stuff now, and more people getting into it, everyone else is kind of getting more accepting of the nerdy stuff that we've loved for years. But I think Warhammer's more successful than ever. So when they come into the shop and like if we're in there painting or whatever, we don't go in often to actually hang around, but or even play a game. It's not as bad anymore.
Oh.
You used to just get everyone to stop and stare like weirdos, and you'd be like, "No, yes, women can do this too."
Are you in?
But now it's.
Are you looking for the other shop?
Yeah. But yeah, now it's pretty okay actually. I think everyone's become kind of normalised to it, and you still get a few weirdos, but you do everywhere. I get more weird looks in the gym than I do walking into a Warhammer
Well,
shop.
what the hell are you doing? Going to a gym? Jesus.
Probably lifting more than them. That's probably why I get weird looks. But still, it's, yeah, it's been years since I think that's been a big deal. But maybe I've just walked into the right shops. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't go into my local GW as often as I used to, and but certainly the when I was more regular there, the teenagers that are hanging around were very, very confused when somebody my age walked in with, especially when my wife came with me, because she's quite good looking, and they were very confused.
Like, how did you do this?
It's like,
Teach us.
do you have conversations with her? Are you able to speak to her? Yeah.
We're married.
What? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We made these 2 children. Yeah. It's what? How does that happen? Well.
Yeah. Well, when Rhiannon and I walk in, you can imagine. Are you 2 sisters? No.
Oh.
What? Mind blown.
All my internet dreams come true all at once.
Yeah. It's made loads of nerdy guys like, this is what I've been waiting for.
It's girl on game.
Thought this was just a thing of legend.
Bless them.
It's so cute. Oh, we'll probably punch him, but it's cool.
Well, of course.
I'm getting some looks. And I'm getting head shakes. That's great.
Good. I'm probably getting looks as well from the house, but that's why I'm tucked away in the back of the garden, so I can keep my opinions to myself. And this is far enough into the podcast that if my wife should listen to this, she'll have given up within sort of 5-10 minutes and saying, yep, it sounds good, but I can't listen to that shit for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, we are safe.
So what else have we got? God, they've got a lot of new releases. We've been going on...
Yeah,
how long have we been chatting? Hour and a half.
Hour and 4,
Yeah. So...
We're nearly at the top, though.
Nearly at the top now. So here is another Plastic Sister.
I like this one.
This is probably one of my favourites, actually. And...
Shield's cool.
She's got a very... Is she holding a Ghostbusters trap?
It looks like it,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Like she's ready. She's ready to go.
It's like sucking a face of some soul face into this this thing that she's holding, and if you'll notice, she's just wearing armour.
No booby calls?
No.
This is the one I was referring to before when I said that not all of them
There you go. Yeah.
have it. So if you want to and it offends you, you can just buy loads of this one.
Loads of this one. Yeah.
If you have the
Buy
money.
all the others. And then replace them with the body of this one, and this is Forge World though, isn't
Just
it?
green stuff over the top of it. It's fine.
Is this Forge World?
Yeah.
I think so. I think we're still on the Forge World stuff.
An
Maybe,
upscaled
I'm not
Sequitur
sure.
Prime.
I don't think it is, actually. I think it's just because the Forge World starts below, so
Yeah.
I think that might just be a normal release. So, upscaled version, maybe a character model in a blister. Looks badass though. Like, she has got a don't fuck with me face. Come at me, bro.
I have a feeling that I'll probably just be buying one of these to do as display.
Yeah, there's a really badass model.
There's just the right amount of detail on here and cool widgets and things, and not too much. I can't actually see a single skull. No, there's one on the ground.
What?
Right at the front, there's a bit of crap out of focus in front of it, but that's a skull.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
But there's no skulls on her. There's a nice lightning bolt going through a forge, coming out of her ponytail.
I think it looks like it's been intentionally left quite blank for display purposes as well, I think. So,
Do you think they might be adding to her?
Yeah, I think it is intentionally left that way so that if you did want to paint it up specifically well, then there's lots of freedom there to do what you want with it, essentially. There's lots of flat surfaces, and yeah, it's really versatile in that respect.
Yeah, like you can do a nice Burberry check on the inside of a shield.
Chav it up a bit.
Some sort of Chanel hound's tooth pattern on her knee pads. Yeah.
I feel like we're stereotyping, but yeah, we can go with this.
Look, just because she's an 8-foot woman with power armor on does not mean she can't be fashionable.
Fuck it, let's just paint her pink. Let's just go for
just slap a load of pink on there.
Watch them absolutely rage.
And some really bright mascara, some rouged cheeks.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's worth it just for the trolls. I've had enough internet for one day with that one, I think.
Yeah, buy two. Do one for trolls and one for good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it could have been, but this is funnier.
And instead of the Ghostbusters bits there, you can actually just convert that out and hang a bottle of Prosecco in her hand.
Call it like Saturday Night Feels or something.
It's
out with the girls.
Yeah, it's Croydon on a night out. We have a good time, but we're fucking ready for anything.
I've not experienced this. I don't think I want to.
Croydon's fun. Yeah.
That's very hesitant.
I don't visit after dark.
Have you been on many Prosecco-filled nights out there, or?
I've had to catch a night bus from there.
Oh.
Yeah, in fact, one time I was on a night bus and somebody got beaten up on my bus, and I then got called for to give a witness statement.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Well, if I ever do go on a bus for Croydon at night time, I'm taking one of the big purple pufferfish with me so I can throw it at them and run.
Job done.
It's got so many uses already that we've come up with. I think I might actually buy one. Not for modelling, just for
Just for self-defense. You can hang it instead of grenades. You can just keep a couple on your belt.
Yeah, because totally legal and it's a good one.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, you keep a box of D6s in your pocket. Some purple puffer fishes on your belt.
And then I'm a sister Sorataris. Decent.
And that's your cosplay for next film Comic Con.
Excellent. Put a shawl around me and some Burberry and Prosecco and I'm squared away.
Yeah. Keep the bottle optional, because by the time you've actually got around to building it, Prosecco will be out of favour.
That's true.
Yeah.
There might be something else.
Yeah, you'll be back to Chardonnay.
Yeah,
baby sham or something.
Archers and lime. Some more Stormcast stuff. Sacrosanct Chamber.
They love these guys,
They
don't they?
really do. There's nice quad bolt gun thing.
It's pretty alright. I like the paint job they've done on it.
Mm-hmm.
The detailing on it's pretty cool.
It's got a nice
But
fiery face.
I look at these guys, because I had a little look at the box set. Not that I'm interested in really playing AOS, but I had a little look at it because I was comparing it to Dark Imperium, and I just thought that I just can't be arsed to paint these guys.
No, I mean they look best when they're painted up in non-metallic, with non-metallic metals, because there's so much gold.
How long would that take?
It would take forever. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a lot of effort, isn't it?
I mean,
what they are.
it feels like cheating just to get a can of gold spray, and then touch up the shoulder pads in blue, and then call it done. But doing an MMM on them all is that's more than my life's worth.
Like I use NMM on my Space Marines, and they take long enough, and there's not a lot on them. It's like the shoulder pad trims, any eagles, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It's not the main armour. So, knowing how long that takes me to get it looking decent, these would just be way too much effort.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose it's rank and file, though, isn't it? You spray them, most of them gold, and then do your 2 or 3 characters in non-metallics.
Yeah, get them to tabletop and then make your characters a little bit special, and you're good to
Yeah.
go.
Although I'm quite a fan, actually, of this TMM style. I think Jim was talking about it with Yeji and Clint in last week's podcast. And it uses proper metallic paints, but using the same style as you would with non-metallic. So you don't have to go as full on with the contrasts to try and make it look like metal. But you're blending in silvers with golds to push the highlights of where the light would be. But you're actually using metallic paint to do it.
I think I've tried this without knowing the name of it, and it turned out quite alright.
I mean, it's basically shading with metals, but yeah, there's a proper name for it now.
That's cool. Yeah, because I like to mix. If I do use metallic paints, I like to mix like my blues and stuff in as well. I have like that cold kind of colour. So there's a lot you can do even with metallic paint if you've got a good metallic paints and you know how to work to consistency, because that's the main thing with them, is that they separate quite easily. I find most of them anyway. So you've got to know exactly to what level you can kind of water them down and glaze with them and stuff. Yeah,
they split really easily. And there's nothing worse than overworking a gold that's split. You end up just having this sort of pool of nothing in the middle and this goop around the outside, and you just have to scrape it all off and start again.
Yeah, I've got I can't remember what make they are now. But I've got some models that I've again not finished, but I painted one up fully, and it's kind of like an Angel of Retribution character, but it's all metallic-y sci-fi armour, and I use true metallics for that.
Right.
Blending with the like golds and blues and stuff, and it actually turned out pretty cool. So I've still got 3 more of those to paint, but it's been so long since I've done the technique that I'd have to
practice it.
Give it a practice first before I did it, because they are display level, so I wouldn't want to mess them up. They do look pretty awesome when you get it right. It's probably not perfect, but
yeah,
it's good to play around with.
Yeah, I like taking a really bright silver, and then when that's dried, just glazing it with a transparent colour on top, give it a nice sort of candy. I did that on this Orc Champion. She's got metallic blue everything on her half bikini thing that she's wearing, for Christ's sake. I mean, she's an orc, But she's wearing...
You got a thing about orcs, haven't you? See a pattern here.
I like green boobs, and I cannot lie. Yeah.
Is Gamora like your favourite character in Guardians?
No.
Because
No. No. Actually. But yeah, I don't understand whoever sculpted this. What the hell they were dreaming of when they came up with this. It's got that really 80s. It's one of these GT Studios line of Orc Champions that they've come out with, and it's got that really 1980s, early 90s sci-fi medieval feel to it. Future thong and bikini set for a very hench orc warrior woman.
why not?
It's and well done to whoever came up with this idea. But yeah, she's wearing blue armor, but that was done with the the GW. What's it? The blue, the Sermon blue.
Oh yeah.
Which is over the top of Vallejo's silver, and the Vallejo silver just goes on so nicely.
That's one of the. So I've got a few Vallejo paints, but I've got all the metallics.
They're stunning. I love their metallics.
They're really good, and their white is great as well. For any colours that I use to mix with and mediums, I always use Vallejo. Then the kind of highlighting colours I've got on my GW paints, but yeah, the metallics are fantastic.
Yeah, I've been mixing my loyalties on these. I've been doing a lot of these scale colour, scale 75. The flesh set, and I've been using those for
you got
a lot of the leather and gloves and saddles, and obviously because the flesh on all of these models is green, and it comes out so nicely just mixing these, and they don't look like flesh colours in the bottles. I mean, there's one here, they're calling it African Shadow, and it's kind of purple. It's a purple tinted brown.
Like a really nice set.
It's a really good set, yeah. And they mix on the wet palette. They're mixing really, really well. With a bit of Lamian medium and just water, they go down, thin out really, really nicely, and they mix with each other, obviously, okay, but they mix with the Vallejo colours as well, really well.
That's good. And they're not that expensive either. That whole set was pretty good price.
I think it was 20 quid for, is it 8 bottles, 10 bottles?
And they're the same size. Are they the same size as Vallejo?
Yeah, pretty much.
17mm. So I mean, I've had those years, the game colour stuff, and years and years. I'm not even halfway through.
Yeah,
they last so long.
I can see which ones I use the most, because I think it took me maybe a year to get through Burnt Umber. Burnt Umber's my favourite shade. And I've got maybe a couple of drops left in this, and it's such a good shade. It works with so many different top colours. Because it's burnt. It goes with yellows, it goes with reds, it goes with... I suppose it's mostly warm colours that I'm using it with, but yeah, I use that a lot to shade, to darken things up with.
They're good mixers.
So, moving to the last little bit, I think, from today's stuff, they've released some new models for Middle-earth.
Yes.
Which is quite exciting. And I have a load of Lord of the Rings and Hobbit models. And I think so do you.
Yes. I used to have a lot of the LOTR stuff, but obviously I've got my
barrels out of bond. I need to make into a cool diorama, but these are really cool because I need more models to put into my diorama, and I'm glad they're re-releasing stuff and releasing different models so that I can play around with it.
Yeah, I mean these the renders that they've put up here for the Battles of Middle Earth. There's a Hurin, foot and mounted, who looks absolutely stunning. Really cool.
Really dynamic.
Yeah. And he's got his Tree of Gondor armour. Mm-hmm. So that, I mean, they're fitting in nicely with almost their out of production Lord of the Rings knights, or the Gondor knights that I've got in a box that don't do anything. And who's this guy? This is Ingold. I can't remember for the life of me who he is as a character from in Middle Earth. If he's a Silmarillion age character, or if he's post Lord of the Rings.
I would need to read them again.
Yeah, but these are guys who weren't in the films. And is this a new band of goblins? Goblin Mercs. Yeah, Goblin Mercenaries. They look great.
Yeah, they based them really well. They they could make some pretty cool little scenarios of them, and to get all your old models out and check them in, they probably wouldn't look much different if you mixed them. No,
they mix in quite nicely. And these look like Uruks, or Orcs. The Enforcers, a guy with a skull on his head and a scythe.
He's cool.
He looks like he means business.
The other guy, I think the paint job makes him.
Yes.
If it wasn't for that, I don't know if it would be a very outstanding model. But
no, I mean he's
the way they've painted him is cool.
He's pretty. I mean his armor, the armor, that kind of armor is pretty easy to paint to that standard. But his face is great. I love the tribal paintwork around his eyes.
Yeah, they've kept it really dark actually, which reflects them quite well.
Yeah. And above that, we've got some more the Dol Amroth knights.
They're all quite different in their own respect as well, which is good because if you get them as a set, you want a little bit of a mixture. So it's nice that they're not all the same.
Yeah. Now Dol Amroth, that's the elves, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, they're great. I love the new dynamic posed GW.
Yeah, they're all action, aren't they? There's nothing really boring going on. They're all out to do something.
Yeah, I mean, so many of my Space Marines are old 5th edition Space Marines who are. They just remind me of like London armed police who stand there with their M5s. Just waiting for something to happen, sort of pointing the gun towards the floor, standing there with their legs apart, saying, "Don't fuck with me, and I won't fuck with you." But
they're supposed to be like beastie.
Yeah, and a Space Marine that stands like a London policeman is not the most exciting thing to look at.
Mm-hmm. Whereas now they're really dynamic.
Yeah. I'm happy for the London policeman to stay pretty still.
Yeah, we don't want them purposely coming after.
No, I mean, thankfully I don't look too foreign, and so they won't chase me down the subway and shoot me. So it's.
That's okay.
So that's today's. 2 hours worth of chatting about. Apparently, Brian Blessed is going to be playing a voice by the looks of things. I skipped over this earlier. Didn't see it. Playing Gotrek Gurnison. And I don't know who Gotrek Gurnison is.
Pass.
that.
But Brian Blessed is more than happy to take your money to whoever, and yeah, he's made a good career out of doing silly voices. Gurnison, that sounds like he's a space wolf.
I'm going to Google.
Right.
Let's see. Some research. Probably should know who this is.
Gotrek and Felix.
Oh, that's what I got as a hit as well. Dwarf Slayer. Ah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Gotrek, son of Gurney, the most manly dwarfy dwarf ever. Okay. Well, that's Brian Blessed all over, right?
Cool.
So, if we ignore or move on from Games Workshop, and we'll come back to them next time to talk about Golden Demon and whatever happened in tomorrow's on the Sunday for Warhammer Fest. Hopefully Ian can enlighten us a lot on that, and Dave can chime in and tell us all about what he saw, if he saw anything at all. But Hellboy, he's popped up in conversation a couple of times, and they talked about him last week on the American podcast. This is still, as of recording, has got 12 more days to go. So when we publish on Monday, it'll be 10 days to go, and it's just broke on Tuesday. I think it was. It broke £1 million. So it's now up to 1 million, according to my page, 1,046,807. Now that's a hell of a lot of money for a board game.
Here we go. I'm so excited about this. You've seen my updates.
Yes.
By the way, this is all Ian's fault.
Yeah, we kind of ganged up on you and made you do this, but so you can blame us.
I blame him.
Yeah, we'll blame him.
I completely blame you guys. And so prior to this, I'd looked on Kickstarter. I hadn't ever involved myself in anything because I didn't trust it.
Yeah.
Mainly because I wasn't really sure how it works. But then this got shared, and Hellboy's awesome. Loved the comic, graphic novels. And then I saw this, and the minis are great. And I've just not stopped looking at it since. Every day I check what it's on. I was so excited when it got to 1 million. I think it was Wednesday? Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, we were all on the group chat, and you were just live refreshing, waiting for it to hit the 1 million.
So excited. It's going to be epic. I really can't wait for it to be released. It's going to be a long wait, but it's worth it, I think. And I was saying to Peter before that the price that it's at the minute. So I've pledged. I got the early bird, and I also have pledged for some of the extras. But as it stands, I'm paying less than £1 per miniature. So that's fun, like really good value for money in my mind, especially with the quality of the miniatures and how they look, and obviously getting all the game stuff with it as well, and all the they've hit so many stretch marks, it's ridiculous.
Stretch goals.
Yeah, stretch goals.
Sorry, the idea of Hellboy and stretch marks.
Newbie. He probably has got some.
I'm sure he does.
We don't know what he's been doing since,
Well, fair enough.
Newbie to Kickstarter. Not down with the lingo. But freebies, yay.
I mean,
so the latest one they've...
So for if you pledge now, it's £95, and you're getting 113 miniatures, plus all the board game, the cards, the tiles, and one of the stretch goals was upgraded quality of card stock. So you're going to be getting that nice, thick, glossy, varnished card that lasts for a lot longer than your standard game cards. It's not Monopoly chance pile card. It's more your really high quality card tricks.
Yeah, I think they called it linen finish.
Oh, okay.
And then the first kind of upgrade was linen finish on all the tiles, and then the latest one is card quality upgraded to 310 GSM. So nice thick cards which have been requested. So it's got, the thing with this is it's got over 8,600 comments on Kickstarter, and they really do listen to the fans, and they've added a lot of stuff in as stretch goals because the fans have asked for it, essentially.
That's pretty cool. I mean, you're paying less than £1 per miniature, but you're getting all the tiles tokens. I mean, door tokens, furniture tokens, custom dice, the HQ board, encounter decks, requisition decks, investigation tokens, core agent cards, deck of doom, case file deck, action cubes, enemy deck. All of that and a box you're getting for nothing.
And it's exclusive artwork for the Kickstarter as well, which Hellboy fans, if you are one, that's quite good. But there's also every Wednesday they do add-on Wednesdays.
Right.
So we've had 4 so far. So the first week they did it, you could get a really cool folding dice tray with it's all like the Hellboy artwork for £12 to add on, and 3D doors and 3D scenery. There's some really cool little bookcases, chairs, tables, that kind of stuff, just to make the game more animated. So for an extra £42 on top, you could get all that stuff. There's quite a lot there, actually. And then this week, they've added the Hellboy Mexico expansion. It's not a Kickstarter exclusive. However, for £35, you get... So it's an extra box, 4 new heroes, a new boss, 50 new minions, 2 new scenarios, new game tiles, new equipment, new deck of doom, and much tequila. So that's great. And the minis are awesome. So it's all like, Mexico-themed Hellboy. I mean, what more do you want?
That's brilliant.
So it's not going to be an exclusive, but it will be limited print. So they'll only actually sell this at like conventions and stuff. It won't be mass-produced for shops and retail.
Okay. So the main game, they're saying, will be delivery in February next year.
Yeah.
This will be in Wave 2 from July next year. So at least you get to paint some and play the game before you need to expand it.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be huge. And gameplay-wise, there's going to be so much that you can do anyway. They've added... So some of the stretch goals include adding agent cards for some of the miniatures that weren't predominantly main characters in the game, but now they are because they've added the cards for them. So the amount of gameplay here is incredible, really, for the price. So you could play this for hours and still have so many different scenarios to go through, and then you get the expansion a few months later. So it's endless gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, once you get bored of playing the game, then it's suddenly you've got your DLC. They've almost thought of this in the expansion way that video games have gone in the last sort of 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And extra skins, so optional extras, so you can get £15 for furniture.
Yeah, which is really cool because you don't see that often with the 3D scenery type stuff.
No,
I'm still not fully in with that yet, so I'm on the fence about getting it, but I probably will.
I mean, I haven't actually scrolled this far down the page at any point, and this 3D scenery is beautiful. I have no idea how big it is, but that leather chair.
That's what's drawing me towards it, because it just looks great.
I kind of want 2 of them and a TV, so I can just do like a miniature Matrix scene.
So you can use it for so much more than, depending on how big it is, obviously, as you said, but if it's a good size, you could use it for all sorts of different stuff, like even different scenarios, or if you want to set a diorama up, not necessarily just for the games.
Yeah.
For a model, obviously our model point of view, we're already into other miniature games. It's great, because we're looking at like the display type side, but even if you're just getting it for the gameplay, it's like an introduction to model painting.
Yeah.
This is a great starter kit. The amount of stuff you get for the price is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, how many pieces are there? There's like 15, 16 pieces of furniture or more.
Yeah, and then...
And then doors.
Shitloads of doors.
Yeah,
What, 12 doors?
15.
15
Yeah.
doors, sorry. Yeah, 15 doors, so...
That replace the cardboard tokens. So, almost going the other way rather than taking your giant dragon and putting a piece of cardboard on there. You could take the piece of cardboard off and put an actual door in place. And they're good-looking doors. I mean, as doors go.
These doors are great, because you could get this extra pack, which, to be honest, for the moulding, they look great. They're really cheap per piece.
Yeah.
And then it's £1 each.
Yep.
And then you could use them in all sorts of dioramas for display stuff, if you were just going to get them for other hobby stuff. So the things you can do with it is just endless.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, it does look like, actually, you've got 3 of that double door. There are 3 of each of the doors, so I think there's actually only 5 different types of door there.
Yeah.
Which is a little cheeky, but...
If you're happy to use the cardboard ones, then you can use these for loads of other stuff.
Damn right.
And it's cheap, for £1 each. It doesn't matter if you get 3 of the same, I suppose. You're still quite cheap per piece for a moulded bit of kit, rather than having to make it yourself out of plastic hardware.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that
Lollipop
I
sticks.
don't think I'd spend money on this is the neoprene dice tray.
No?
No, because it's just a bit of wetsuit material. I know it's got a print or final design to be is TBC on it, but just to have it's £12 for a piece of foam.
I suppose fans will pay for the artwork.
I suppose.
That's the only thing. That's what attracted me to it.
Okay.
Because it's Mike, he's a bit of a legend. So anything on this with that kind of exclusive artwork on it is going to be, even if for investment purposes, if you're not going to use it and you want to flip it later on, might be worth getting.
But is it an exclusive piece of artwork that will be printed on it?
So the box design, so that matches the box design currently, is an exclusive piece of artwork.
I see, right.
So whatever they print for the Kickstarter, as far as I'm aware, is an exclusive cover for the box. So the one that's released out into the general stores later on won't be the same.
Gotcha.
From what I gather from this week. So I think, it's going to be... if you're looking at it from an investment point of view for an extra add-on, it might be worth it,
right,
if it goes up in price.
Gotcha. So actually you wouldn't fold it and throw dice in it, you'd stick it in a frame and display it?
If you're that way inclined. It might be alright from an investment point of view.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I need to find myself 100 and whatever quid and back this in the next, just shy of 2 weeks to go.
Can't wait till Wednesday. It's going to be extra add-ons. We'll see what they come up with next.
What the hell can they come up with?
Every day it surprises me with the stretch goals and stuff that they add, so we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, the minis are great. I mean, from the smallest one is 32mm on a 25 base. The biggest one looks like it's 90mm tall on a 50mm base.
The worm.
That's right. And they're just lovely to look at. They're not the fanciest of material. They're not resin. They're, I think, they PVA. Mm-hmm. So they're that, and they're molded in one piece. There's no assembly required. So actually, you open the box, you throw the packaging away, and you can start playing. You don't have to glue anything together. You don't have to do what you've done with your Primaris and Blue Tech them, just so you can see how they fit. You can just start playing with them and paint them as you go.
They sent an email out, I think yesterday when we hit one of the stretch goals, and they were talking about releasing resin specifically for people who are always inclined to like to paint stuff. So I have to try and find it. But yeah, they were talking about what's coming up. So yeah, next week we'll have some more component upgrades, new BPRD agents, and Wednesday we'll see resin miniatures added to the roster of optional extras. Another element of the campaign that backers have been asking for.
Mm-hmm.
With just 2 weeks to go, there's still plenty to come. So they really are fan-driven, and so which is really nice to see.
That's good. It's really good when they listen to. Yeah.
Well, the hand of one of the stretch goals was, for example, was the Hand of Doom, right hand of Doom, and the token, basically making the token 3D.
Okay.
And people were putting all sorts of stuff in the comments about how they weren't too sure about the design, maybe change this and change this. So they actually sent an email out saying, like, do you guys want us to bin it off? What do you want us to do with it? Which was really nice to see. So they are really, really fan-driven.
Cool. I mean, Pancake's Hellboy is a cute little figure. That's a great little stretch goal. The agent's, the Scott Clark figure looks pretty cool. I like the base.
That's going to be good to paint with the jetpack.
Yeah. And so they've upgraded the card quality again. Yeah. Yep. And the 3D busts. Those are.
They are cool. They got added yesterday. I think it was. We hit 1,030,000.
That's it.
And I was really excited because I was actually thinking the other day that I'd love some of these just to paint as kind of display stuff. And even if you don't, I probably won't even use them in the game. I'd probably paint them up as display busts, and then just keep using the normal tokens because you get them as well.
Right.
Which is cool. So they don't just upgrade the bust tokens; they leave the original cardboard ones in. So you don't have to use them if you don't want to.
Fantastic. Yeah. God, this is good.
Trying to fit all this in a box is going to be impossible.
Well, I mean, looking at the furniture and doors, they're not sending that in retail packaging. I think they're just going to be cramming that in. Like, everybody breathe in. There's not a lot of room in this box.
They're going to have to... I'm going to have to get like another just case to put all this stuff in, I think. Because the amount of extras with it is ridiculous.
Yeah, what's the shipping on this?
UK, I think, is free, but FAQ.
There we go. Shipping is not included. Oh, it's £9.
£9 for us, is it? I wasn't even bothered.
No, I mean that's cheaper than driving to Nottingham to pick it up.
Yeah, I just got really excited and was like, buy it.
Yeah.
But even the international stuff, I don't think is that bad. And they've said recently that they've just organised a deal to ship to Canada as well, because there was a lot of questions about that. So I think they've reduced that massively.
Okay. Yeah, because it's currently...
So any Canadians out there?
£14 to send to Canada, but I mean, the worst price for Australia, New Zealand, and rest of the world is £25.
It's not bad for the amount of stuff you get, is it, really?
Weight,
and the amount of money that you're saving.
And that, you know, you're getting all the thicker card and the tiles, the heavier, thicker tiles. That adds to the weight. So if you spend, I've spent more than £25 on postage for things before.
Well, my theory is that if you, by the end of this with add-ons, if you choose to have all of them, say you're in for £200, are you really that bothered about spending £25 on posting if you're already in for £200 for all this?
For all of that, I mean,
I don't think it's a big deal.
I mean, for the 100 and whatever that you've spent on this already, you must be getting what, £200-300 worth of stuff.
Oh, easy, yeah. If I was to buy them all separately, you've got the RRPs on the front page. I mean, you can see how much they are normally. You're saving a lot.
Yeah.
Even just getting the Kickstarter, and that's with all the exclusives on top of that. Even if, like I said, even if you were just buying it for the base game, and then you get all the stretch goals and you flip them straight away,
and then you paid for it back
on eBay or whatever. Yeah, you pretty much get your money back. I imagine if people want it that badly with all the exclusives, so it's worth it even for the base game, and then the rest is an investment.
Well, I mean, you've got the horned Hellboy, which you're getting for nothing. People will be buying those up on eBay for 20-30 quid.
Oh, easy, yeah. You've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 so far Kickstarter exclusives just in the stretch
That's
goals.
crazy.
And that's without looking at the actual base packs as well.
Yeah.
Of whatever's included in them that's exclusive. But I mean, like I said, even if you just flip them outside of the game because you weren't too bothered about them, you're probably going to make most of it back. So that £9 to £25 postage is not a big deal, I don't think.
No, you'd be paying that again in offering free postage for all the people you're selling to on eBay.
And if you put Pro Painted on there, they'd probably spend 3 times as much. So, yeah.
You've got your mortgage covered just by investing in this now.
Without a doubt, I think this was a great decision. More people should
Probably,
do it, so
probably the best decision you've ever made.
So I get more free stuff. I'm just being selfish now, but it's really cool. Even if you're not, I think even if you've never really read a Hellboy comic before, but you like miniatures, there's so many different types of miniatures in here that the designs are fantastic. So it'd be a really great intro kind of game to get into board games, and also really fun to paint.
Yeah, I think I need to put a business case together for the missus on this one and say, well, it'll shut me up for painting. It'll mean that we can do it's 1 to 4 people, so I can either play it by myself or play it with the kids.
Keep them quiet.
Yep. And we can make our money back by selling all the limited edition shit that we don't really need.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah.
And you could keep the kids occupied. It's quite a long game, so you keep the kids occupied. You could go out, treat yourself.
With all that extra money that we've
time away.
suddenly made. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorted. I think this is a good idea for you.
Yeah, it'll be that bottle of Prosecco out in Croydon. Yeah, very, very tempted for this. I like this a lot, and quite envious that you've stumped up and you're getting this, and actually at the cheaper price.
That was it for me. It was like I go in now, or I really annoy myself by. I mean, it's only £6 more.
Yeah.
But that's £6. I mean, that's nearly my postage paid for. So
There you go.
it's a save. It's still a saving.
Essentially, you've pledged the same as everybody else, and you're paying £3 postage.
Yeah, basically, which makes it sound even better when you try and preach it.
Oh, you're laughing all the way to that bank, aren't you?
But I'm just hoping that. I mean, Mantic have had obviously quite a few games out before, and their quality's been good. So I'm impatient, but I'm also really excited to open the box for the first time, and I'll add that to my YouTube list of future videos.
It'll be interesting to see.
Unboxing the Hellboy board.
I can't wait to see that.
Oh, you guys will be the first to know and flood our chat with pictures of the board game I've been waiting for so long.
It'd be interesting to see,
Really
though.
exciting to actually
They're saying February next year, and of course, this is all being farmed out and being produced in China.
Yeah.
Now, that is Chinese New Year, where Chinese industry apparently shuts down for about a month while they do celebrations. So, if they're not ready for shipping before Christmas, then they might be late with it. So that's the only other issue, I think.
I think it's worth the wait, even if it is a little bit late. For the amount of stuff you get.
I agree with you, but of course there are those who will say, we've paid the money, you've promised this, why haven't you delivered? Send us free stuff.
This is the thing, it's a Kickstarter at the end of the day. It's one of the reasons why I probably haven't really invested before, but mainly because I didn't really find anything like this that really got my attention. but I think you've got to take some of it with a bit of a pinch of salt sometimes and just wait out. And I mean, Mantic, they're great. They've made many games before, so you'd like to think that they've got some stuff squared away and have sorted it out. And with over £1 million already in the bank, hopefully by the end of the thing, you'd think that they'd maybe be able to get it done on time.
I trust that they know what they're doing.
It's Kickstarter, so if it was a brand new company that hadn't made anything before and they were doing this, I'd probably be a bit more cautious about it. But
yeah, and it's it is. I mean, Mantic's not a tiny company, and they are using this more as a pre-order system, which is one of our sort of group bugbears. For the way that Cool Mini uses it, it doesn't need to use it as a pre-order system, but from listening to interviews with Ronnie, I think Ronnie Renton has said in the past, I think, if I'm not getting him confused with somebody else from another company, is that he doesn't like doing, he's not good at marketing. So he uses the Kickstarter because it saves him worrying about marketing.
This is perfect for this, though. It's niche, it's a specific brand, so it would make sense to use this platform to release it on, because you're going to get that fan base interested. Kickstarter's been around long enough now that people will use it, and Mantic Games have released enough stuff on there that they're trustworthy, so it just makes perfect sense to put it on here.
I mean,
and I think if, like you said, you would get a lot more marketing from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we ever get a chance to have a chat with him about it, I think that's a question that I want to ask him. Is why Kickstarter? Why not traditional launch through friendly local gaming stores, or Amazon or whatever? Why aren't you going the old-fashioned route? Why this? And will China deliver?
That's the thing. I mean, they've obviously got the interest. It's over £1 million of 100,000 goal. So,
I mean, they've got.
It's 10.
They've been knocking on 11,000 backers.
It's insane how much money has gone into this. And I thought originally when I first read it, I thought it said pledged of £1 million goal.
Right.
And then I thought, they've still. And when it was on I think when I joined it was on 600,000.
Right.
So and that was only 3 days in, and I invested quite fast.
Yeah.
So, and then I realised it said 100,000, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, they've
that has gone.
Yeah, they've
that
done
has
this.
already gone massive. Yeah, without a doubt. So, I mean, he might just say cause $1 million, and they can. It's crazy. How invested people are.
I mean, it took them.
So I really do hope it does.
Within the first week, they'd hit $1 million, I think, hadn't they? Yeah, that's nutty. I mean, it it has slowed down considerably since.
The add-ons help though. Every Wednesday, it smashes through like 3 or 4 stretch goals.
Yeah.
If not more, from the add-ons. And that's where I'm just sitting there like refreshing it. It's crazy how quickly it goes.
Well,
up.
if I get paid before Wednesday, then guess who's going to help smash it through the next one?
Yes. We'll make everyone in our group buy this before the end of it, I think. If we can.
Yes, we'll be here in a year's time chatting and saying, what are you painting? I'm still painting some fucking Hellboy miniatures.
Yeah, we'll be really annoyed with it. Like, I could 10 more beasts to paint. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I've got all of these bloody BPRD agents to go through there, so samey.
How's your tentacle monster?
Yeah.
I mean, none of us have actually played the game. We've just been painting Nazi troops for 5 weeks.
That is a distinct possibility.
But it means that when we do meet up, we can all play it. We'll all know how it works, so we could all play it and trial it, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or I could just bring it along.
Well, yeah. Pub.
Yes.
Hellboy. And
Tequila.
1 to 4 of us, because it's you can't play more than 4.
No. Well, there's just 2 tonight, so sure we can
We could probably manage that,
whittle
yeah.
it down if we need to.
Yes, there's two of us and the spider that hasn't moved.
Join us in a year when me and Peter and the spider play Hellboy, the board game.
And, yeah. And that spider will still be there.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the skull on the back of this thing that really is not... Why does it... It looks like it's like...
You need to take a photo.
It's the Punisher edition spider.
So take a picture. If it's not a big spider, I'm going to rip the piss out of
Oh,
it.
it's not a big spider. It's
Oh,
just that... But, you know, a Black Widow is not a big spider. But it'll fucking kill you.
But we don't have them.
No, I know we don't have them. This is...
We accidentally bring them back sometimes, but we don't.
Yeah,
have
I mean,
them
this is a
normally.
false widow.
It's too cold.
But it's
No bitey. It's fine.
yeah, I know. We found one in the house last week, and we did some research on it, and said, yeah, no bitey, it's fine. But it's just, why does it have a skull on its back?
Because nature, and it needs to survive, and it scares people off. That's.
But how does it know that that's a scary sign?
It sees other ones and goes, "Ooh,
Ooh, it's like
that's scary."
before 1977, they didn't have that design on the back, and they like one was wandering down Tottenham Court Road, and it saw the Games Workshop opening, and it said skulls everywhere. Right, that's what we're doing. We're going to scare the living shit out of
fashionable.
all the weedy wusses in their sheds. We're going to have
Camouflage.
Yeah. Can sit there and have a skull on our back.
Sounds about
Yeah.
right.
Well, I think it's probably time to wrap up and switch the lights off and pretend the spider doesn't exist.
Probably safe for you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So, lots of new stuff from Games Workshop,
Yes.
and more stuff to come by the looks of things. Hellboy is hell yeah.
Yeah.
I've backed a few things on Kickstarter. Never any games. I've done some terrain, which was a nice bit of terrain, and some camera gear and things, and some coffee. I've backed a fancy reusable Nespresso pod.
Love coffee.
I don't have an espresso machine. I did at my office, and I don't work there anymore. But that was a really good thing, and I figured in 3 years of use, I will have paid. It will have paid for itself really, really well, and saved the
We like the environment.
and the environment has already thanked me. But I don't work there anymore, so I don't use it. So yeah, Kickstarter for a game with 100+ miniatures is a definite temptation for me, and obviously has been for you.
Do it.
Do it, yeah. If only I had my
I'm biased, but do it.
credit card in my pocket, I would do it now. But yeah, listeners, dig deep, find it. It's actually not as deep as it seems.
Not when you add it
Not
up.
when you add it up. Yeah. So let's get to this outro, and it goes a little something like this. Well, thanks for listening, folks. As always, you can get in touch with us on the usual web and social media channels. The website is models-workshop.com. The Facebook is facebook.com/The Models Workshop. And on Twitter, it's at MWAH Podcast. And that Twitter handle will get you through to Larry. You can find me on Twitter at MiniModelPaint. Chloe's not on Twitter, but you can stalk her on Instagram. And what are you on Instagram?
LTP_geek on Instagram.
Yep. I won't tell you about Ian, Dave, or Simon because they're not here, slackers. And
Losers.
we will have them back recording with us as soon as we possibly can. So yeah, as always, this episode of Models Workshop After Hours UK edition has been sponsored by Audible.com, and you can grab 2 free books, not just one, by visiting www.bit.ly/afterhoursaudible. And they're yours for life, even if you decide to cancel your membership. You're still reading or being read to by Audible stuff?
Yeah, I started a new book this week.
What have you started?
So, I say new. I started reading the series a while ago. It's called Wolf of the Plains by Connie Gordon. It's about like the Genghis Khan era.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. But yeah, I started reading the series a while ago, a few years ago now, and thought it was really cheap. It's like £3, so I thought I'd get back into it. So I started that one.
Cool. Yeah, I finished Stephen King's It last week. Finally, yeah. I enjoyed the waffle. I enjoyed the backwards and forwards and the long hours worth of descriptions of 5-second thoughts, which is, it's why I enjoyed watching Lost all those years, because it just meandered forever, telling you intricate details of things that maybe you didn't really care about, but I enjoyed that. And I've just started reading Red Sparrow by Jason Matthews. I haven't seen the film, but it's nice, sort of, I think early 2000s KGB style Russia spies and American spies, and
that sounds cool. Not heard of that one before.
Yeah, it's the movies with Jennifer Lawrence.
I should probably see this.
Yeah, she's a prima ballerina who becomes a secret intelligence officer for the whatever the KGB got called, the SSR, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I'm enjoying the all the Russian stuff that's going on in this at the minute.
To add that to the list.
Yeah. So well, with that, get your Audible. Listen in next week. The American podcast crew are back in between, while we will either have Just the Facts or a special of some sort. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye and see you soon. Any last words from you?
Goodbye, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you next week with more people, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. Cool. Bye.